Okay. So today, today's the first day probably in, I don't know, at least 5 years, if not longer, that I've been under 100 kilograms. In American, that's like just around 220 pounds. I'm trying to think, it's 2 times 2, so 100, 10% of that would be 110, yeah. So around 220 pounds. Still looking to flush off some more fat though. The numbers, I'm happy with the number. Obviously it means I'm moving in the right direction. Still have a ways to go to get to the desired outcome. On that note, today is back and bicep day with some cardio, obviously. We're going to do 30 minutes as we've been doing. And go back into another night shift tonight at work. Last night wasn't too crazy. It was kind of steady at first and then kind of dragged on. We had a few weird calls throughout the middle of the night, but nothing insurmountable. It was, enough to keep us awake and busy, but not overwhelming in a sense that we were, having to leave one call and go to another kind of thing. So today's mission is to prep some food for the last night shift. This guy's asleep at the wheel here. So I gotta get a couple meals made up. Food was alright last night. Ground turkey, not a huge fan of it, but it was on sale and it was, it's better than trying to drink all my protein in protein shakes. It gets kind of tiring after a while. I only try to, have a protein shake maybe once a day, once every other day if I need to. So I think tonight is going to be a ground beef type of night. I don't know if I'll have time to cook it at home or if I'll just bring the skunk on the road again. Oh, that reeks. I'll just bring the stuff to base and cook it up there. Alright, Haas, where are you going there, buddy? So, man, these kids and their bikes. I gotta go drop off a couple things, and then did I bring my pre-workout? Yes. And then it's a quick hop over to the gym, and we'll get that started. On the gym front and the muscle, I'm obviously not building any muscle because we're in a caloric deficit right now. But as far as like physique goes, starting to see, some changes, which isn't making me happy. Still got a ways to go though. I really don't want to start going into like a muscle gaining or a bulking cycle until I have, everything cut back to where I'm happy, because I know if I kind of half-ass it right now and go right back into a caloric surplus, my concern is that the weight's just going to come right back to the places that we don't want it to. So the name of the game right now with the caloric deficit is high protein, and staying in the deficit. I've kind of tinkered around with my calorie tracking app too, or my meal counting, or whatever you want to call it, meal tracker. By default, they typically will, say if I go, say my daily caloric burning rate, or my daily expenditure of calories, just based on if I were to sit around and do nothing, is, say it's 2,200 calories or 2,500 calories. The way the app works, it says, okay, well, by default, is if I go to the gym and I do the bike and I burn 200 calories there and then 200 calories doing weightlifting, they'll say, okay, well, now you have 2,900 calories that you can eat worth of food. It would still keep you in a moderate deficit. So I've turned that option off now. So the way I look at it is, if I'm going to go to the gym and do the cardio, or my weightlifting's going to count as extra expenditure, I don't want to have to worry about, am I eating 3,200 calories of food today and then only 2,800 tomorrow, because maybe I didn't burn as much on my leg day as I did on a shoulder day or something like that. So what I've done is I've turned that off. So no matter what, I'm always eating the exact same amount of calories, and then the energy I burn doing cardio, my weightlifting, if I have a busy day at work and my step count is unusually high or something like that, those are all kind of just bonus calories that I've burnt now. And it's going to further put me into a deficit. Because the thing with the caloric deficit is, obviously we track it day by day, but the changes aren't going to come based on like a 1-day deficit. You want to have a deficit over a long period of time, so that your body's constantly tapping into those reserves that it's built up for, fat storage and energy. So if you're, constantly in that deficit, your body's going to say, oh man, we need to break down these fat reserves. We got to go into those deep glycogen stores and break those apart so that the body has, energy to, anything from like basic bodily functions. But the big one is obviously going to be, skeletal muscle and things like that. So if you're constantly in that deficit below, that daily expenditure amount, your body's going to say, we're not getting the energy from external sources, so we got to eat the sources that we've built up on our body to maintain homeostasis. And that's kind of like the funny thing with being in a caloric deficit or dieting, is you've been in a surplus for so long that your body's used to this new homeostasis level where 3,200, 3,500, 4,000, 5,000 calories a day has become the normal for your body, that it's adapted and said, yeah, we're going to store this extra energy, we're going to store this away. I don't need to worry about running out of energy right now, so we're just going to stash it away in these fat reserves or these glycogen stores. And that's how you end up with these deep fat reserves in your body that are hidden within like your subcutaneous tissues or visceral tissues around your organs and stuff like that. And those are the ones that are really tricky to get rid of, because it can be developed over decades sometimes. Anyways, gonna make a quick pit stop here. What was I just talking about? Homeostasis. Sounds like I'm giving a biology lecture now. anyways, at the end of the day, the important thing, or what's happening in your body, is when you're in this caloric deficit, your body's trying to maintain this baseline level energy. So that can either be, like I said, achieved from external energy sources, so eating whatever, protein, fats, donuts, whatever it's going to be. Or it can be achieved by burning internal energy stores. When you're cutting, we want to burn those internal, we're going to burn internal energy stores with the aim of burning adipose tissue, which is those, fatty, high calorie dense energy stores. And then it's going to be the exact opposite, and hopefully in 2 or 3 months when we're aiming to bulk, we're going to try and remain in a high protein, macros, and then likely going to be increasing carbs, so it's quick, accessible energy for the body. And the goal is to, feed the body energy, feed the body protein so that it can grow muscle tissue and hopefully not adipose tissue. So that's going to be kind of the juggling, or the pendulum swing that we have to, try and balance on both ends. We don't want to, you don't want to be bulking with so many calories that your body's trying to store energy and build muscle, and it ends up turning it into, fat stores only. I mean, inevitably with any bulking, you're going to gain fat. It's just the nature of being in a caloric surplus. So your body, wants to, store that extra energy somewhere. So, but that's a conversation and a battle for at least probably another month or two away. Today is back and by, as I mentioned. So, gonna do lateral pull downs, not lateral pull downs, lat pull downs. Lat pull downs probably gonna be a rowing motion. I haven't decided if it's gonna be dumbbells or a cable row. I haven't done cable row in a while. It might be that. So pull downs, rows, probably a row machine and some pullovers, and that'd be, the full complement of back workouts or back exercises that we need for the workout today. And then after that, it's biceps, and we'll likely be doing cable curls with some dumbbell curls, and probably finish off on a preacher curl machine just to kind of burn everything out. And other than that, that's going to be it for the workout part of today. So, going to go put on some music and get ready to get in there. And I will see you when we get out. Come on. There we go. Bit of a standoff going on here on Main Street. I don't know what the heck's that about. Rivaling couples, maybe. Anyways, safe to say that biceps and back have been adequately stimulated, and cardio big old check mark on that too. So for the rest of the day, it's mainly get the food and pack it away, and not pack it away as in eat it, but actually pack my food for lunches. And then get ready for work. And tonight is our last night shift, and we have a long set off because I took the holiday off for the stat. So it doesn't mean I'm quite off the hook for responsibilities. Obviously, I still have to get the kiddos to school, and I'll have my little guy with me, but as far as obligations on going into work for 12 hours, it'll be a bit of a break. The one speed bump we're going to have this week is Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm trying to... These two guys at the bus stop, they were looking at like a dead squirrel in the road. I'm not sure if they were trying to figure out what to do with it or what, but it was just like something out of a cartoon or a comic book or something. Anyways, I'm trying to decide if I just bite the bullet and have like a cheat day. And I don't really like those because I find they turn into slippery slopes pretty quick. This one might be not so bad because it's obviously for like around a holiday, so it's not like I'm just eating a ton of food just because I want to have a lazy day or something. The other problem I'm going to have is we're having our dinner on Sunday, and then our actual stat here in Canada is on Monday, which means, well, it's actually not the worst thing, because it means the day that we would be having like Thanksgiving dinner, which we're going to have ours on a Sunday, I could go to the gym in the morning and still kind of maybe offset some of that caloric surplus I'm going to be eating at dinner time with, some cardio and a weight training session, which means that the Monday, which would be the stat, I could still take, half an hour and go ride the bike in the gym at home to, make up for the gym not being open. So we'll see. That's going to be probably a game day decision. I think it's not going to be something I'm going to plan ahead. I'm leaning towards it's going to be a cheat meal. I don't think it's going to turn into a whole cheat day thing. I don't want to, eat a whole week's worth of calories in one day. But we'll try and see. What is this guy going to do? He's trying to go around everybody in the parking lot by... Where are you going? Zero idea. Now he's driving in the oncoming lanes. Holy man. I don't know if it's just me getting older or if it's like an actual, like, I don't want to say statistical thing, but I don't know if it's just me getting old and cranky and crotchety, but I feel like the driving abilities from when I was 16 till now, so like the past 20 years, and I probably wouldn't have noticed it much when I was 16, but we'll just say in the past 15 years or so, that I feel like I'm scratching my head a lot more while I'm driving when I see some of the decisions that other drivers are making. So, like I said, it's probably just me getting old. I'm just in the grocery store here. I'm gonna hop in and grab a few things for Din tonight, and then head home and cook it up, I think is what the plan is. I see my colleagues from the fire department are here doing a food drive, so Likely we'll pick up something maybe and donate it to them. Anyways, I'll be in and out real quick. I'm not going to drag you guys into the grocery store today. Maybe when I have like an actual grocery list to do, I'll do something like that. But I'll be back in a moment. All right. I feel like Matthew McConaughey from Wish.com or something. Gotta find something else to say other than all right or okay. It's like Matthew McConaughey or DJ Khaled every intro. Anyways. Food is obtained. I'm gonna head home, cook it up, save myself from having to cook at the station tonight. And got some extra tuna. I was able to donate that to the food bank with the fire department there, so gonna give the gift of protein, I guess, for somebody. What was I chatting about before we stopped there? I think it was rambling about cutting versus bulking and the challenges for the Thanksgiving weekend. That's what it was. See, I think I'm going to try and hold myself to just having one cheat meal on Thanksgiving. But we'll see. It depends how early I actually go up to my parents' house for dinner. If it ends up being a full day thing, not likely going to be as easy. But we can try and... It's a weird sticker. We can try and limit the caloric intake throughout the beginning of the day, and then it should make it a little bit easier to indulge a little bit without any I shouldn't say any guilt, but without too much guilt, hopefully. But other than that, I don't really have much else to add today. I feel like this recording session's already going to be pretty long, and I'm going to have to find some way to cut out a lot of the kind of fluff stuff, because if I ever end up recording stuff in the gym and that ends up being, another, say, even if it was like 10 minutes of cut working set content, which that'd be, I'd say, generous, I guess, at this point, since right now it's at 0, but I can't have 20 minutes of me rambling in the car plus another 10 minutes of that, because it just won't fit into a YouTube video that anyone's going to watch. Not that anyone really has been watching these anyways. The talking part, I guess, is at least beneficial for me. I feel like that's helped. So, I just heard back from the admissions office as well for the med school applications, and I had a little tinge of stress or fear, I guess you could say, because I noticed that the college and university locally here hadn't sent my transcripts in yet. The college had received the request to have them sent, but they weren't submitted. So initially I was, a little worried about that causing some issues with the application, but I spoke to the, one of the admissions officers, or what do you want to call it, somebody who works at the office there, through an email messenger. Anyways, they have an internal messaging system. And they said as long as that request was put in before the deadline, then there wouldn't be any issues with the application. So I was able to have a sigh of relief for that today. And everyone is parking on the road in the weirdest places right now. And it's, 4 o'clock, so it's rush hour. Everyone's leaving work. Everyone's getting home from school. It's a gong show right now on the road. Yeah, so far everything seems like it's there hasn't been any surprises with the application. Man, somebody's car reeks. And it's probably this car in front of us, if I had to guess. So everything's as planned, or as planned as it can be for the application so far. There's been no signs of hiccups or problems on that end. It's just a matter of if they're going to select my application to be eligible for an interview or not is the next hurdle. So that's status quo still, or good news. And the weight loss stuff we talked about this morning already, that's good news from a certain perspective. Bad news if I'm looking at gaining muscle, but we aren't right now. We're looking at losing fat, so I'll take the lower number on the scale as a win for now. And yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for today. I don't really have much else I want to rant about. Like, I feel like if I sit here and keep trying to think of things, it just comes across as wasted air, dead space, dead air time, I guess you could call it. And that's, I know one thing I've had issues with in the past with interviews is I feel like I have to keep talking. So I think I'll tie it off there. Tomorrow is going to be a leg day workout, so be able to have a little nap after work and head over to the gym. And you know what, if tonight's not too bad at work, I might even try to go to the gym right in the morning, but we'll see what fate has in store for me tonight. If the emergency gods are going to be kind to us or not. Apparently, I was talking to some of the staff today. It's been a bit of a mess, so I don't know what to expect for tonight. Sometimes it carries on through into the next shift, and sometimes it doesn't. Either way, we'll end this video off here, and we'll see. I'll see you tomorrow, and I guess you'll find out how the night shift went. So for anyone who's still watching this little tangent, thanks for sticking around. And if this stuff interests you and you are curious to see the outcome of these challenges I'm trying to overcome, or these hurdles in life right now, then follow along and find out. Have a good one. Thanks.